Okay, we are up and running. So welcome into the final round of ALR Season 19 with Tier 2. Welcome in, Jack, and welcome everyone. So this is the final round. So we've got a couple of little things to go through because I did notice that Harry, who is the closest challenger to X9G, you actually don't see in the top 8. Where's X9G? Ooh, down in 11th. That's not great. But X9G, current championship leader, he has his closest rival, Harry, is not racing or didn't race on Monday. So the closest person who's actually racing him for the championship is Tinin Stelian. Just call him Tin. That's a long name. And he needs P3 in this sprint race to keep the championship going to the feature. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that, and that's assuming that X9G doesn't score any points. If X9G can get into the top 10, score some points, Tin will need to do even better than that. We do also have a big fight going on in the Constructors' Championship. I can't remember, I think Mazda, Lamborghini's not in it anymore, Nissan are in it. Who else has been up front? I'm sure there's a three-way fight. But the guarantee, I know for a fact, is between Mazda and Nissan. At least those two. And it might have been Ferrari, actually, but with only one driver, they might struggle in that one. So, let's have a quick... Yeah, Ferrari, Mazda, and Nissan. And Ferrari going in with one hand tied behind their back, only having one driver. So, let's have a quick run through this. So, we've got Scotty with another pole position. He's had 2 or 3, I think it's a 2 before now. His M6 is a very good car around this track. Astro and Fossey 2 and 3 did not expect the Audi to do that well here, to be honest. And Astro's kind of been struggling through the mid-season, had a really good start and then dropped off in the middle, and now he's back towards the front. Got the RG parties. We'll have to keep an eye out for that one. And then we've got Tin and his teammate 4th and 6th for the Mazda. So that's a great start in the Constructors' battle for those two. Then we've got Higgsy between them in 5th, the second of the M6s. They're not quite in the title fight for the Constructors. But with Ferrari only having one car, they could potentially get into the mix. They've had pretty good seasons all around. Then we've got Prime Call up in 7th. One of his best qualifyings in a while. Maybe got a bit of practice. The AMG in Tier 1 especially, Anonyma was really quick in the AMG. So maybe the AMG quite suited to this track. Pyro up in 8th. Quite impressive and surprising given how the rest of his season's gone. Hopefully he can get some decent points and hold on to that position. I think last week he was up in the top 10 as well, but then he had an incident in the sprint race and dropped down. Asseldor 9th is probably his worst qualifying of the season, to be honest, in the Beetle. Which I wouldn't... It's not got great top speed, but I would have thought he had done okay here. He's done good at other tracks that require top speed, and it's not really done that well. Oh, he's on mediums. In the sprint? I mean, you do have bad tyre wear, but that is impressive. He went to Vegas mid-season. Yeah, possibly. And then we got the first of the GTRs in 10th, and Ross was actually, and Gilles was showing signs of improvement in qualifying, getting a bit further up there in the sprint races. So 10th for Ross, Gilles down in 14th. They're both on soft tyres. I'm guessing Asseldor's probably the only one on mediums. Yeah, he is. But I mean, qualifying 9th on mediums is quite, well, you don't have to qualify on mediums, actually. You can change tyres. So we'll have to see how he does in the sprint race. I forgot we'd change that rule. Then we got our championship leader, X9G, in 11th. Going to need to make some progress to get into the points. I think 6th or 7th would guarantee he gets it. I assumed you did. I forgot we changed that rule where you had to change quality on the tyres you were going to start the race on. So yeah, we'll have to see how you do on the medium tyres. It's going to be a challenge. Only 3/10 off pole, yeah, it was super close. Yeah. So that is 3/10 is 9th place. That is rough. Then we've got Jack down in 12th. From the sounds of it, he was not getting on with Ferrari around here. Not really surprising. MR cars typically do not that great, and the Ferrari is definitely the loosest of the MR cars that are left. Then we got Misha in the Peugeot VGT. Not going to be quite as dominant here as it was at Monza. So they're only 13th in qualifying. And we didn't actually get to see them qualify at Monza, but they came through the pack at some rate. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. Gilles down in 14th again. Surprising that he's down there. He sort of had a couple of rounds where he was right at the front, and now he's dropped back again. Then we got Wack being out-qualified by his teammate. I think this might be the second week in a row, although he didn't get a good lap in qualifying in Spa, I believe, because he was rapid in practice before that. Then we got Hennes for his second round in the AMG 16. Won't be as good around here as the AMG 20 is. So I'll have to see if he can make any progress up from 16th on the grid as we get this race underway. Got 5 red lights, and they are off. And I think the M6 is probably going to get a better launch than the Audis will. But all the good starting cars are actually a little bit further back than normal. Tin already up into P3. This is big for the championship, up into P2. But he's on the outside into turn 1. Everybody keeping it clean. Fossey going really wide. That's going to might cost him a couple of positions. Tin's had to drop back into 3rd. Now, is there going to be... Ooh, Prime Call having a look. No, just up the side of inside Marty. I thought he was going to go for a double move there on both of the Mazdas. But bailed over into there. Marty holds on around the outside. So we have the Mazdas 3 and 4. This is great for them in the championship. Scotty still leads ahead of Astro. There's a small gap. Higgsy and Fossey look like going side by side. Fossey's going to be forced to the outside for the long run onto the long straight. Has to drop back in. He's in the slipstream, and we've seen that Audi is rapid on the straights. Is he going to bump draft, or is he going to go for the move? Higgs is going defensive already. Fossey can just stay on the racing line. Didn't have enough to pull ahead though. Surely he's got to think about sending it for a move instead. No, just sits behind. Maybe sees the gap behind. Whoa, that was Pyro late on the brakes. Going side by side with Ross. It's a tricky section to go side by side through, and Ross, I think, quite smartly backs out of it there. Gilles making a move. Going side by side with Misha. Gilles goes through. And we've got X9G all the way down to 15th. That is not good for his championship. Still trying to fight his way back past Hennes. And he's going to get a good run out of the... It's not the penultimate corner. It's almost the penultimate corner. But he's actually coming under threat from Wack, and he's almost down to last place. Might be able to hold it through these last sequence of corners. And he does. So he goes back up into 15th. I don't think it struggled on top speed. It was blitzing past stuff at Daytona. Could be the different BOPs playing a part in that. Oh, these guys go side by side through the first section. X9G manages to get the move. Brave there from X9G trying to go around the outside. It's up to 14th. Got a little bit of a gap ahead of him now. So he needs to try and close that up if he can. How are we looking at the lead? Scotty's starting to slowly, very slowly pull away from Astro. Astro's got a relatively comfortable gap over Tin, who's got a gap over Higgsy, and we've lost Marty. Was that a penalty, or was it a mistake? No, it must have been a mistake, or maybe it was a move from Primecall. So he's in 4th. Primecall's getting really close up behind. Pulls to the inside. He does pull to the inside. Ooh, yeah, just gets forced out a little bit and then comes back on and collects Primecall, and then gets a little tap from Higgsy as well. That was very messy. We'll have one more look at this from the chase cam, see if we can figure out who or what is to blame. So trying to go side by side, there's a little bit of contact there, and then Marty essentially cuts the course unintentionally, just kind of that's where he ends up, makes contact with, when he comes back on, Primecall forces him off. Higgsy makes a little bit of contact with Marty as well, which forces him off again, and that costs him a lot of positions, and crucially behind one of the Nissans. So he's still got, they're still outscoring Nissan at the moment, relatively comfortably. P3 compared to P7 and P8 compared to P13. Gilles has dropped down a few positions now. Primecall manages to recover in 12th. And that might slow these guys up a little bit, although they're still right on the pack. And X9G's onto the back of the group. He needs to try and make some moves if he can. Because if I was him, I'd probably want to get this sewn up in the sprint race if possible. Because you've got to imagine he's got the speed for it. He's been one of the fastest all season. Even at the first round where I think he started last and almost won the feature race. He's been one of the fastest, so he should be able to make progress through the field. Although Lambo's not really got the top end to make it easy. But he's going wide there, almost all four wheels onto the grass. Lost some time to the cars ahead. Doesn't look like Wack's going to get close enough to be able to go for a move. Henners has had some kind of problem. Did he just have that problem? Yeah, because he was right on the back. Oh yeah, I think he just lost it on his own there. Slide out really easy to do at that corner because you've got to be aggressive on the throttle to get the lap time. And Scotty really pulling away 51.1. It's a good time. I think they were just into the 50s in qualifying, so he's not far off that pace. And he is pulling away from Astro, 6/10 on that lap. It's almost a second from Tin. Higgs is actually closing in a little bit on Tin now. So I'll have to keep an eye on this. Tin needs this third place to take the championship to the feature race. However unlikely it is that X9G doesn't get it wrapped up in the end, because Tin would need to win and X9G not score points again if Tin stays third. You want to give yourself as much chance as possible. Very different lines through that corner, which you can take. You can try and carry as much speed as possible, run it to the outside, and then bring it back to the right for the left-hand onto the long straight. Higgsy's staying super tight around that corner. It's generally my preferred line as well. And now he's in the slipstream, but he's not really close enough to go for a move unless it's an absolute send. And it isn't. Anybody else? Foss is kind of on his own. Pyro up into 6th place. Misha actually had made a lot of progress up into 7th. And they will be able to get moves done pretty quickly, or pretty easily, with the Peugeot VGT. We've seen how fast that car is on the straights already this season at Monza. And they're coming up behind Pyro, who's up a couple of positions in 6th, profited from a couple of mishaps for Marty and for Primecall. But they're basically holding position. And this would be a great result for Pyro, compared to how the rest of the season has gone. So let's see what the top speed is like on this straight. Pyro looked like he got a good run through the last couple of corners, especially compared to the Peugeot. And I'm not sure Misha's going to be able to close that gap before turn 1. Probably not. The best chance is probably going to be on the back straight, when you get to carry a little bit more speed onto the back straight, not so much from a standstill out of the final corner. Marty's still holding on to 9th, and they have got a gap to Asador, unsurprisingly. Not really making his way forward on the medium tyres. Has got Primecall right behind him, who looks like he's got good pace. He was challenging Marty for P4, qualified 7th, probably his best qualifying of the season. And he's going to want to get past him as soon as possible. He might not know he's on mediums, because like Asador said, he did qualify on the soft, so he might think that everybody's on the soft tyres. Because in the sprint race, everybody normally would be on the soft tyres. We've got a 4-way 2x2 battle going on behind. X9G dropping down to 15th at the moment. Shields just holding on at the lead of the pack. Whack to the inside. Is he going to send it up the inside? Not quite. Well, Shields goes a little bit deep. The wide line's going to give him the inside for this next 2 corners, but Whack's already slightly ahead. Going side by side, everybody leaves room. Nicely done, X9G. Ooh, I thought he was going to chuck it down the inside of Whack there. I think probably thought better of it. It would have been a late move. You just see the different lines you can take around this track, and they sort of work out equal in the end. And Wack manages to hold on to that position. Don't think anybody's going to send it into the final corner. And we have had a change for P3. Higgsy has managed to get past on Tin, which is enough to give X9G the championship if it stays as it is. Astro's also taken the fastest lap of the race and closed in a lot back onto Scotty. How are the tyres looking? Not that much different, but slightly better for Astro. Astro getting into the 150s. I think that is pretty... Oh, didn't get damaged, but got a crash, going to cost him a chunk of time. So he's not right on the back of Scotty anymore. But these two have well and truly pulled away from the rest of the group. Higgsy looks like he's starting to pull away from Tin. And we've got Fossey, Misha. So Misha has managed to get past Pyro. Probably on the back straight, I would guess. Yeah, super close here. And yeah, just the Peugeot straight line speed, easily alongside. And that gets it done on the brakes. Is it going to be fairly straightforward? Ooh, Pyro gets forced out a bit wide there. Into the barrier. A little bit cheeky. Not exactly a major incident or anything to worry about. Pyro still holding on in 7th. Ross still holding on in front of Marty. Primeco did get past Asador and up into 10th. And it wouldn't be... What, I've got 4 and a half laps left to go. He could definitely close that gap to Marty. He looked like he was faster at the start of the race as well. Asador, I'm not sure even with the medium tyres that the crossover point's going to come on the other cars before the end of the race. So I think this is going to be a struggle for Asador to get into the top 10 now. Which is unfortunate, because at the moment he's just missing out on the reverse grid. Gilles is definitely going to be interested in getting to that position if he can. He's not far away from Prime Call. If he can make this move relatively quickly. We've got X9G looking for a move in the background, but doesn't make it. So still sitting there in 14th. And X9G's got a lot of places to make up to guarantee himself the championship, although Tin still dropping away from Higgsy. Higgsy 51.0 on the last lap, all getting pretty close to the fastest lap. Takes some time out of the front two as well. So Higgsy looks pretty solid in this 3rd place. Tin's going to need to find some pace. Only just drops into the 51s on the last lap. Misha with 51.4 on the last lap is closing in to Fossey, 4/10 quicker on the last lap. He's starting to kill that front right tyre though. I don't think anybody has to be worried about them completely dying. Asador obviously was, or otherwise I don't think he'd have taken the mediums. But I don't think anybody else is going to have a problem. We're already 5 laps in, that's over halfway, and it's not at 50% worn yet. So should be okay. Got Ross still really close to Pyro, although Ross's tyres are looking significantly worse. And this is the problem I found with the GCR recently. It's super easy if you push flat to just cook the tyres. It's fast, and there are some people who can drive it and have good tyre wear, but it requires a certain way of driving it to preserve them. And let's see, what are Ross's tyres like compared to Gilles? Basically, they're actually probably better than Gilles. So both GCRs struggling with the tyre wear. Got Marty right onto the back of Ross now. Prime Call has closed that gap. I'm going to say pretty significantly, but he's into the wall, gets some damage. He's got a big gap behind to Gilles, so he's not going to be under any pressure. But yeah, in your sims you had a puncher by the end, but in this lobby it wasn't so bad. Could have maybe. It depends a lot on how you drive. It really does, especially the first couple of laps. Because my tyre wear in the sprint was a lot better in practice races than it was in the actual sprint race. So it can vary. Sometimes wind can play a big factor as well, especially with turn 1, 2 and 3. It's where you're going to really put some pressure on it. You've got a headwind through there at the moment, so that's giving you more grip. Probably helps the tyres to some degree. Misha not close enough to Fossey. Fossey's getting quite close to Tin as well. So Fossey is starting to close that gap. And Tin has really dropped away from the front three. And honestly, Astro might not even be safe from Higgsy, because Higgsy's really taking time. 50.9. That is a good time this late into the sprint race. You can see the tyres getting close to 50%. So 50.9 is a good time. How much did he take? Almost over a second out of both of them? No, just out of Astro. Scotty had a bit of a bounce back, low 51. So Astro is definitely not safe. He did have that mistake which cost him the time, I think. It was on the last lap anyway. We'll have to see what he does on this lap. But Higgsy's really closed in. And his tyres are actually looking better than Astro. That's surprising. Front tyres especially. So 52 again for Astro. 51.5's taking another chunk of time out. And his teammate also into the 52s. Higgsy's tyres are looking so much better than both of them, his teammate included. He's going to have a job to get to his teammate in 2 laps, but Astro is there for the taking. Let's have a quick drop back and then we'll and then we'll come back to that, because I don't think that gap's going to last too much longer. Tin is not coming under threat from Fossey yet. Misha was closing the gap, but her last couple of lap times they have dropped off to some degree. Paratide's looking significantly better. Marty's tyre's looking better, and he's all over the back of Ross. So this will be big for the championship. Couple of points swing from Team Mazda, gain some points. Team Nissan lose some points. And Primeco's already closed a lot of that gap in after that crash at the final corner. Shields doesn't look like he's going to be able to challenge any further forward than P11 at the moment. Then we've got Asador. X9G still only in 13th. He's at a 51.6, so he can do the times, but he's stuck in traffic. And he just doesn't have the top speed. You can see how much the McLaren's gaining there. Going to be forced to the outside. He's super late on the brakes. And he might even be able to hold it all the way around the outside. I think he's got it. Great move there from Wack. Send it all the way around the outside. Oh, X9G, I think he was late on the brake. What happened to Jack? Or was he always back here? Did he have a mistake? Must have. He had some rough laps. 53 and 54, and then just massively dropped into the 51s on the last couple. So he's got the pace. Maybe the consistency with the Ferrari not quite there. As he tries to send it around the outside. No, he's going to back out of that. I think it's more of a last lap kind of move that. He goes into the wall, so he's not going to be able to challenge into the start straight. So let's go back to this battle, because I think Higgsy's definitely, he's definitely there. Definitely going to have a chance at going for a move if he can find somewhere to do it. Astro goes wide. Higgsy, he's not quite ahead. He's on the outside. Can he get great traction? I think Astro just slid out a little bit on the inside. And that gets the move for Higgsy. So it's a BMW M6-1-2. I wonder if there's any way the M6s could fight their way into the Constructors' Championship. So 1-2, they both had great pace so far. They might need something similar in the feature race to make it happen, but they've definitely got the pace. Has to go a little bit defensive from Astro. Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes it's just the track, because it's not. I don't want to say it's not the Lambo, because Zico destroyed everyone in Tier 1 with the Lambo. But if you're not comfortable, then you can really you can end up missing so much time. Astro's really tearing into those tyres. Didn't look like he got a great exit. So Higgsy might be safe into the final corner. Didn't have to go defensive, which is quite big. And Astro's not close enough to send it at the final corner, but Scotty is led from start to finish. Got pole position, doesn't get the fastest lap, so he's not quite going for the Grand Slam. or whatever actually counts for that now. But Scotty across the line to get a P1. Higgsy makes it a BMW 1-2 ahead of Astro. Tin is just going to miss out on keeping the championship going to the feature race. Fosty gets 5th, Misha up into 6th. Marty managed to get past Pyro and Ross on the last lap. Then we'll go back and have a look at that. She is up to 10th, so somebody's gone. Prime Call. Got to have a look at what happened on the final lap there. Let's go from you backwards. So he got past Ross a while ago at the end of lap 8. Just gets super close, gets into the slipstream and to the inside. Ross didn't defend, or maybe he wants the outside. We've seen Whack manage to go around the outside to make the move. So maybe Ross thinks he can hold it around the outside, but doesn't, and that's Marty up 1 position into P8. Primecall's still in P10 at the moment, so we know he's going to have a problem somewhere. So we'll stick on board with Marty because we should get Primecall in the background for whatever happens. Misha's actually coming under pressure from Pyro on the last lap. So we said Misha was working their way through the tyres pretty quickly, and you can see the difference there between the McLaren and the Peugeot. But it is going to be hard to make a move, with the Peugeot being extremely fast on the straights. Might have to be somewhere in the final sector and just send it somewhere, because that gap has just opened up massively already, just with that one straight. Oh, Ross going super wide in the background. Ooh, I thought that might have been what caused Prime Calls off there, but it's not. As the tyres, pretty similar, slightly better for Prime Call. Still got Marty looking for a move on Pyro. Gets a good exit, but he's not going to be able to get to the inside. Neither's Prime Call behind. Marty keeping this really tight line around the right-hander. Gets really close to the wall on the inside. That's going to give him a good run. Gives him a great run compared to Pyro in there. He's bump drafting him. That's an interesting choice. Maybe he's confident the other Mazda can get past, even late on pulling out of the slipstream. And he is. Pyro doesn't defend it either. So maybe the outside line is the more desirable line, although that is a little bit of contact. You see, because Pyro might have been moving to the inside there. Let's have a look what happens. So Marty gets super close, gets to the inside, basically halfway alongside. I think Pyro sort of turns in a little bit. It's not really early, because you do turn in early for that corner. But it was earlier than Marty was turning in for it. So I think that's just a racing incident, not really anything in that. That's what gets Marty up into 7th. And that's big for Mazda as well, because they're gaining even more points on Team Nissan. Then we got Prime Call in 10th. So what happens to Prime Call? He must lose it out of the last corner. Or does he go for the absolute send? No? Oh, gets too much on the grass on the inside and just loses it. Oh, that's unfortunate for Prime Call. That's going to cost him the reverse grid pole position, which massively for Team Nissan puts Gilles into 10th. So they have a 1-2 for the feature race. Hasseldo just missing out on in P11. Whack in P12. X9G was P13 in the end, but that should be the championship for X9G, I'm pretty sure. He's got that wrapped up, so the only one we're really worried about now is the constructors. So congratulations to X9G on the championship. Been a great season for him. Struggled with qualifying quite a bit in the early rounds, but had great race pace. Absolutely insane race pace. And managed to make his way to the front regardless. So now we've got the feature race. And I've heard people mention a 2-stop. I haven't seen anybody try it, either in Tier 1 or in the practice races. So I don't know if it's going to work. I would imagine it's a medium-soft strategy rather than medium-soft, because the softs are going to wear out fairly quickly. So let's have a quick look down at what tyres everybody's got on. Medium hard 1-stop is fairly straightforward. You can go to anywhere between lap 10 and 12. I think you can go a little bit longer than 12 if you're good on the tyres. So probably the GTRs won't be doing that. But they're both on the mediums out of the front, which is understandable. That's probably a smart decision, honestly, because if they can just work together on the mediums with the cars behind on harder tyres, which at the moment it's only Pyro on the hards, then we've got Misha, yeah, the lot of cars. So Marty needs to try and get past Pyro ASAP to stick with the GTRs and try and cause them some problems. Pyro, if the message on the back of his car is anything to go by, he is not going to be in a hurry to let Marty past. And then we've got Misha on the hards, Fossey on the hards, Tin on the mediums as well. So he's going to want to make some progress from 7th. It's risky going for it in the middle of the pack, but if you're confident you can get the moves done, it can definitely work. We've got Astro hards, Higgsy and Scotty on the hards, Asseldor on the mediums. So could be going for a 2-stop. If they struggle to make the soft laps in the sprint, they might have to go for a 2-stop. But we'll have to see how that one plays out. Then we've got Whack, X9G on the hards, Jack on the hards, Primecall and Henners bringing up the rear on the hard tyres. So it's back to the front. And some of the cars at the back, right at the back, are going to get messed up by the fact they're not onto the straight. So who is that? Oh, it might just be Henners, actually. Primecall gets a little bit compromised, but not much. But you can see how much Henners lost already, being stuck at that last corner. Especially when the start straight's so long, you'd think they just delay the start a little bit so they can get the 16th car round the corner. But we have Gilles and Ross comfortably leading away from Pyro. Now, Pyro on the hards. Obviously, it looks like he's closing up to the back of the GTRs. So, been a good start, a good first couple of corners from Pyro. But at some point in this lap, that gap has surely got to start extending. The GTRs have got to pull a gap while they're on the medium tyres. And it looks like Pyro just made a mistake, and that's going to cost him position to Marty, so that's massive. So Marty already up into P3. So that's crucial for his race as well. How's Tin doing? Oh, coming under a little bit of pressure from Astro. Definitely can't afford to be losing positions. Okay, hold on, Paul, so we don't miss anything. We've got championship points coming into it. Okay, so we've got Ferrari 273, Mazda 254, Nissan 237, BMW 225. So Ferrari actually still got a chunky lead. But obviously having only one car, and feature is where the big points are, not safe. Nissan actually need to outscore Mazda. I thought Nissan might be ahead coming into this somehow. So they need a great feature race, which is lucky that they started 1-2 in this one. And then BMW, I mean, they need to somehow try and manage to get 1-2, I think, and hope for the best in how all the maths works out after. Because they're not out of it, BMW. 50 points is a big margin to make up. Actually, yeah, he's hardly out of it. 25, 22. BMW might be out of it, actually. What is the Geldon? Let me do the actual maths. 25, 78, 48. BMW are technically just in it, I think. They need every single point available, and for Ferrari to get nothing. So if Jack is not P16, BMW cannot win. So we're looking at Ferrari, Mazda and Nissan. Tin has made up one position, I think. Fossey, we've lost Fossey, hold on. Penalty? Or a spin? Oh no, too much of the grass on the inside on the hard tyres, and that is not going to end well. Fossey spins, gets some damage on the front. Going to drop down to last position. So that's one easy position for Tin. He's not right on the back of anyone, but that, to be fair, that's probably because the Peugeot has just disappeared on the straight, and he will probably start to catch up in this next section. Goes a little bit onto the grass. Doesn't always cost that much time going onto the grass now. At least when it's only 2 wheels on the grass. We've got a little bit of a snap. He is closing up to the Peugeot though. But like I said, the Peugeot is not going to be easy to get past. The Mazda's quick in the straights as well, but Misha with the slipstream from Pyro ahead, I don't think there's any way the Mazda manages to get this move done. Misha, honestly, even though they're that far back, has got a small chance of getting to Pyro here. Never mind, not a small chance, a very good chance. Already alongside, already ahead. I've got to use that thing again. He's so fun. He just irritates so many people. Get in front, park the bus through the corners and then disappear on the straights. So Misha up into 4th, first of the hard runners. Lead has swapped. Is it a tactical swap, Mr. Rosthorn, who is in the chat? Welcome anonymous. Yeah, Peugeot is crazy on the top speed. Crazy. I mean, Ross was faster in the sprint race, so maybe Gilles has just let him go so he can use his pace out front to get away. Gilles made a mistake onto the back straight. So it's not planned, but it might work out for the best if Gilles can be a bit of a ray gunner and hold Marty behind and Ross disappears out front. Yeah, I imagine. That is very much the GT definition of nuclear bomb, coughing baby meme. Peugeot versus Beetle. So how are the tyres looking? Significantly better on Marty's car. I don't think the GTRs will go for the 2-stop, even if the tyre wear is quite bad. Oh, they absolutely did. I mean, Gilles in particular, because he was 11th until the last corner. And then, because of Prime Call's spin, he ended up getting promoted into 10th. Ross was legitimately in the top 10 the whole race, pretty much. Abroad was. And then I've got Asseldor. How was Asseldor in 5th? What happened? You were in 7th a minute ago. So Tin is trying to get the move done on Pyro. Tin backs out. Loses the position to Asseldor. Is Asseldor then going to set up Pyro into the tunnel? He absolutely sends it to the inside. Gets it stopped. Looked like they got it stopped anyway. Let's have a quick look at that from... do it from this one. Sod it. Gets to the inside, gets it stopped. Yeah, just a little bit of lag, unfortunately, which is what forces Pyro that wide. I do love that move into there, though. You can do it. You absolutely send it to the inside, park it on the apex, and then make the other driver deal with it. Works a treat. Especially if your car's good on the brakes, which I think the Beetle is. It's not good for Tin. Not good for Tin. He's back down one position, but Pyro doesn't look like he's got the slipstream, and the Mazda is fast on the straight, so he should be able to get this move done. Pulls alongside. He needs to be careful he doesn't get a double overtake from Astro, who is closing in. Tin fully alongside, gets it stopped, gets the move done. Looks like Astro's going to follow through. Not quite. Pyro getting the better exit around the outside. Gets up into 7th, or holds on to 7th. And how are BMWs doing? 9th for Higgsy. Scotty down one position into 11th. Not great, and they are all on the hard tyres. X19 up into 10th. Championship winner just having a bit of a glory run in this feature. We've got Jack in 12th, which is also bad news for the BMWs. Wack's got a 1.5 second penalty, which is not good. Prime Call hanging onto the back of the group. Henners, and then Fossey has dropped back off the lead a little bit, off the back of the pack even. Ross still out front, got a bit of a gap to Gilles, nothing major. Although I think Marty just made a mistake through there. Actually, maybe not. Lost a little bit of time, but not much. Thought it was a bigger mistake than that. But Gilles low 52 on the medium tyres. kind of where we expect the pace to be, I think, for these guys. Low 52s, especially when they're on a full tank. Someone might squeeze into the 51s when they put on the mediums and a bit less fuel in the car. Oh, Marty's lost a chunk of time now. That's got to be out of slipstream. And that's big if Shields can stay in the slipstream with Ross and they can work together. That is big for Team Nissan. Asseldor up into 4th. And he's trying to defend from the Peugeot ahead, or behind even. And he's late, really late on the brakes. If he can get a good exit, he can save it. But Misha just absolutely squeezing him to the wall there, and that's rough. Asseldor, he has to get the move done in the corners somewhere, because I don't think there's any way, even with slipstream, the Beetle's going to outdrag the Peugeot. Sends it around the outside, gets it done. As long as he can hold this into turn 1 and he doesn't get overtaken, he should be able to pull away enough by the back straight. But he looks like he's going to get a compromised exit. He's got to just hug the inside now. I don't know if it's going to matter. Misha coming around the outside, fully ahead. Asseldor tried to, did, but he needs to be careful because he can get a penalty for cutting that inside curb. And he does, half second. It looked like he'd cut it a bit too much. But he's going to send it around the outside anyway. Whoa, I think that was just a snap of the car from Misha. Gives the position back. That's great news for Tim. He's just got 2 free positions there. And he should be safe from the Peugeot now. The zero gap should be big enough. Say should be, just because of how insane that thing is. Should be safe. But look how much of a gap the front 3 have got on the medium tyres. Yeah, it was some good racing. Doing a bit unfortunate there. I think it was just a snap over that crest on the exit of the hill. Not really anything you can do about it. I mean, you've got to save the car when it snaps. So he's going to throw you wide. Tyres still looking a lot more in favour of Marty. And those tyres are wearing really quick. We're not even coming up to the end of lap 5 and they're basically 50% gone. So the Nissans might have to do only 10 on the mediums and 12 on the hards. 7 seconds. Yeah, it's a big gap. Basically 5 laps gone. So over a second a lap. But Tin, he might not be too bothered about the gap. Ooh, if that was Asseldor too late on the brakes and makes a bit of contact with Tin there, that's not going to help him in any way, shape or form. Getting any closer to the guys ahead. Asseldor, is that penalty going to cost him position to the Peugeot? Absolutely it will. So he's been let through, but he's got to do it all again. And Asseldor's tyres are actually better than the GTRs out front. So he's definitely right about if he was getting punctures in his practice races, he's definitely right that this lobby, for whatever reason, the tyre wear is not being so harsh. We're going to stick with this one because I think Asseldor is definitely going to be able to send it somewhere with how good the Beetle is on the brakes. We've seen him make some good moves already. Looks like he got a decent exit, but there's no way he's going to challenge into this corner. Let's just check the top speeds. 140 there. Yeah, the Peugeot's going faster even with the Beetle with a little bit of slipstream. No chance of going for a move into that. We've got Astro up into P7. Only getting 1 position, but he is moved forward. Pyro is the one who's dropped out, unfortunately. Did he get... I don't think we've seen him have a proper issue. Yeah. Honestly, it was the funniest thing when we did when the Tour Endurance Series came back and I used that. Iggy was 2 tenths behind me in the AMG, and he was losing time as well. It's kind of crazy how fast that is. Jack's made a couple of positions, got up ahead of Scotty. Henna's up into 12th, so this feature is going better than the sprint race did. But Scotty not being able to make progress. It's not looking great for the BMWs at the moment, although the leader on their strategy is Misha, who isn't too far ahead of them, to be honest. So if they've got the pace on the mediums when they swap tyres, it's not out of the question. It's just at the longest of long shots. You're burning too much fuel. Possibly, but I mean, to be fair, you've been saving a ridiculous amount of fuel in the other races. Got less than the McLaren, got less than the M6. That's when you know you're in trouble in terms of fuel. But we have just got past Pyro, so if you can keep the pace going and pull away, you can maybe offset some of that. Are you over-revving the Ferrari this time? Because I know you've been short-shifting a lot in the feature races before, because there were some races where I was convinced you and Harry had just messed up on the fuel and were saving for the sake of, because you absolutely had to or you wouldn't make it. Yeah, you're over-revving a little bit, but it's not that much. Ooh, Pyro's trying to go around the outside. A couple of different lines. He didn't have Harry with you, so you weren't thinking. That is not good. You should be able to accomplish that on your own, Jack. And to be able to think, am I using too much fuel? Because I think you've got less than everybody else. Oh dear. It's a good job you've wrapped the championship up already. But because he is really not enjoying this one. Made a mistake on lap 5, 10 seconds lost. Just really not getting on with the track. Or the track car combination, whatever it is, something is just not clicking. So that's pretty good tyre wear for the Ferrari, to be honest. The WRX could maybe do 12, like at absolute most, would probably be a puncher at the end of the lap. Ooh, Pyro's going to send it. He was setting up to send it. I'm not sure if there was any contact there. Ah, you got hit on lap 5, okay. So it wasn't a mistake, but it was an incident. As Pyro's still trying to get this move done on Jack. Going around the outside, oh, Jack a bit deep on the brakes, Pyro into the wall. That's going to allow Scotty through. Or is it? Because he goes wide himself. And he's going to hit the wall on the exit. That's Pyro back ahead. Although not by much, Scotty right behind him in the slipstream. He's not pulling out of it yet, so he wants to stay in as long as he possibly can. Goes to the inside. We've seen Pyro try to defend the outside multiple times though, so he doesn't seem that bothered about giving up the inside line there. Although he has messed that one up, goes a little bit too deep, can't get on the throttle, can't get the better exit, loses the position down to 11th. And you can hear the things of Ferrari that's sliding, but the tyre was wearing pretty evenly front to back. Yeah, you've got to find the balance. You've definitely got to find the balance. Okay, Asseldown after 8 laps, he's 100% going for 2-stop. 100%. So we'll have to see how this works out. I think he's probably the only one going for it. I wonder what strategy he's doing though. 8 laps is early, because if he does 8, then 8, he's got 6 on the soft tyres. If he goes softs. I'd be surprised if he goes medium. His tyres have got plenty left, so he could go longer in the second stint. I would imagine that's the plan, and go on to the soft tyres. I can't imagine medium, hard being the strategy. But we have had a change. I think that's just happened relatively recently. It has. So the front 3 close back up. Martin make a small mistake. You can see the tyres really starting to kick in now. Both the Nissans still with the same tyre wear. Marty right in the slipstream. Got to pull to the inside. and gets up into second pretty comfortably by the end of the straight. Goes wide through turn 1. This could allow Gilles to go for the move into the tunnel. Gets to the inside. Ooh, Marty really late on the brakes there. Managed to hold on around the outside. Okay, that's good. Now if he can get to Ross and get past, he's got the tyres to build a gap if he's going to stay out longer. I reckon the Nissans are going to be coming in after the next lap. They could potentially decide to go this lap. The hards should go 13, even if the mediums only go 9 for them. It's not bad on the tyres, the Mazda. It's really not. Kind of a big problem is it's been a bit lazy sometimes. Because it's very stable. It's good on fuel, or it's good for fuel saving at least. Well, it's actually used more than GTRs, because the GTR is a bit OP now on fuel. It's kind of like in a class with the Lexus now, for how good it is on the fuel. But I do quite like the Mazda now. I haven't driven it much since the update, but I drove it like a week ago, just to see what it was like, and it's surprisingly good. Ooh, and they are coming in. Ross is coming in at least. Gilles following him, so only 9 laps on the mediums. Ross, maybe. I think Gilles could have gone another lap if he wanted to. To be honest, I think Ross could have gone another lap if he wanted to. It might not be faster. Depends how much they're going to cook the hard tyres when they get on them. So, Marty's going to keep going, unsurprisingly. Tin definitely going to keep going. Plenty of tyres left on the mediums. We've got Astro on the hards, Misha on the hards. Everybody else, I think, is on the hard tyre now, behind. What did Asador come out on? Came out on the mediums. Crucially, is he going to jump Ross and Gilles? Probably not now. No, it doesn't look like it. And Asador's got another stop to make, so he needs to get past them. Oh, well, he needs to get to them first, but... Nice, still quite a big gap. With another stop to make, he's going to come flying through at the end on whatever tyre he's on. Even if he puts on a hard tyre, which I don't think he will. But if he comes out on softs, he's definitely going to be flying at the pack ahead. So, Astro's made his way to the front of the group on the hard tyres. And we saw he had the pace in the sprint race, getting the P2. We saw he was quite rough on the tyres though. So he's going to be going, I suspect, to lap 12. So they only has to do 10 laps on the mediums. And yeah, the Audi's actually won the tyres more than the Peugeot. Yeah, the undercut is very powerful. Tier 1, 2+ seconds per lap between used hards and fresh mediums. Yeah. And Mazda's both in already. That's surprising. They've got a lot of tyre left on that. What did they do on the last flying lap? 50... 54? 53.8 from Astro, so maybe it's just faster. Now's the point to get off the tyres, because you lose too much when they get super worn. So let's go on board with the GTRs, because we're going to want to know where Marty comes out in relation to these. The GTRs had more fuel. Cold hard tyres, the undercut's not going to be that powerful. Ooh, Tin on the soft tyre. Does he come out in front of the GTRs? 1. Gets in front of 1, that's big. So multiple people going for the 2-stop. So Tin should be able to get this move done pretty easy. Let's go and find Marty, who's doing the same. Okay, so both Mazdas are doing the 2-stop. Explains why they were on mediums at the start, especially for Tin. Asador, obviously on his mediums, also going for the 2-stop, and he's actually, well, he's closed that gap massively to the GTRs. Like ooh, I don't even want to know. That's 2-3 seconds maybe? I feel like that's 2-3 seconds faster. mean, cold medium tyres are a pain to get up to temperature. As we've got Tin going for the move on Ross. And is he... yeah, I thought he might sort of end up there, not sure if he really wanted to. So Tin is going to want to get past Fossey as soon as possible. How am I supposed to look at lap times? It was an outlap for the GTR, so yeah, I have no yardstick to measure it off, because Assador came in a lap earlier and put less fuel in. Assador did set almost the fastest lap of the race, but I don't know what Ross and Gilles did on that lap. We'll have to have a look at what it is this time around. Okay, so we've got a couple of drivers in off the hards already on lap 11. So these guys are surely going to be going to the end on a set of mediums. Wack came in onto the mediums, but yeah, that should be enough for to the end. Yeah, Jack as well. So Wack and Jack came in a lap earlier than Pyro and Henners. Are they going to be able to get an undercut? Because I'm pretty sure Wack was behind. Jack was basically with Pyro. Pyro's actually come out ahead, although he's put a lot less fuel in to get that position. So he's going to have to be careful on the fuel on this last stint. And this is still looking very good for the GTRs, gotta say. I know there are cars in between where Pyro is and where Gilles is, but that is a decent gap. Tin has obviously managed to get past Fossey. So maybe these guys can make a medium soft work, because they went 10 on the mediums and they can do 6 and 6. So that definitely makes the 2-stop, I think, more feasible if you can go medium soft. I'm not sure the WRX could have managed that. Then we got X19G. Is he going to be pitting this lap? Yep, I think. Oh, I'm surprised a lot of drivers continuing. I mean, I figured Astro would be going the longest of them because he was struggling with the tyres in the sprint race. Higgsy, I'm surprised at, because he had great tyre wear in the sprint race. I would have thought he'd gone for an undercut, get onto the mediums. Scotty makes sense. We saw him struggling with tyre in the sprint as well. Again, Misha in the Peugeot VGT. That's not great on its tyres. Ooh, big slide there from Misha. Hard soft. I'm not sure I've ever seen anywhere where that is actually the fastest strategy, without it being forced to some degree. But we've got Marty already up behind these guys. He's got the same amount of fuel. So actually this is looking okay for Marty. Tin's going to struggle a little bit because he lost the time at the beginning. Although he's just set 51.6, so he is flying. Low 54s for the GTR, so that is let's say 2.5 seconds, pretty much. Oh, it would definitely be interesting. I have no idea if it would be good. I've just never seen it. I don't even know if I've ever seen anyone try it. As Assador gets the move done on Gilles, up into 8th. And the hard runners are finally coming in. Marty obviously stays out, takes the lead of the race. So let's try and figure out, is Assador going to be able to go softs at the end? I surely think that's got to be the strategy, because he could have gone longer on the mediums in the first stint if he wanted to. So he's got one stop to make, but he's with what is essentially the net race leaders in Ross and Gilles. Mazda's now into a 1-2 at the moment. And the reason the 2-stop actually works is because the pit loss isn't as big as you think. especially when you're sitting in the pits. Because you come in before the last 2 turns, it feels like you're sitting there forever, but the actual pit loss isn't too bad. So what is the gap? That is a big gap between Astro and Giles. Giles into the 55s on the last lap though, and from what we've seen, mediums can do 52s. Low 52s, maybe even into the 51s. Yeah, pit loss is about 21 seconds. It's on the shorter side. Well, it's kind of bang in the middle. It's kind of average. But it doesn't seem that way when you're sitting in the pits, which is why I think most people never really think about it or try it. So they've got a big gap. That is a really big gap. We'll check what the gap is as Astro comes across the line, because we will be able to figure it out. He's sticking to the back of Asador okay. If they can get back down to 54s again on the hards, which Ross has been doing consistently at the moment, it's just Giles has been having a couple of battles with people, just slowed him down. If we can get back to the 54s, that will make a big difference. Because it might save him laps at the end of being under pressure. Because I think Astro will close that gap. Especially with only doing 9 laps on the mediums, they've got to be just full sending it. So what time is Ross doing? 53.6, okay, so that's a big improvement from Ross. 53.1 from Giles, okay, that's another big improvement from Giles as well. So that is going to make a big difference. And see what the gap is as they come across the line. 13 seconds, 13 to 14 seconds of a gap. Needs to be taking 2 seconds a lap, which would be low 51s for the mediums. Given that's what they were doing on the softs, that's probably a bit too much of an ask. So, are the Mazdas the only ones that are in with a shout of challenging the GTRs with the 2-stop? Because this feature has really worked out perfectly for Team Nissan. They ended up together, 1-2 on the grid, went with the softer tyre, drove away from the fighting pack behind, and now they've got a relatively comfortable gap. Although Ross has somehow... Oh no, he's lost that position to Asador. I thought he dropped behind Giles and Asador then. So, Asador has managed to get through. I'm not sure if there was a mistake from Ross or not. I didn't think Asador was that close to him. But Ross, I think smartly, not really interested in defending. It's irrelevant. Asador's on a completely different strategy and different tyres. So just pull in behind. They're doing fairly similar lap times, 53.0, 53.6, 53.1. They're all kind of around that. What do you mean if they can work together every race and be 1-2 in the feature races? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he didn't want to lose time. There's no point fighting it. It's not your battle. So we'll have to check the lap times as they come across, see what lap times Astro is actually doing on the mediums. This is going to be a bit slower from Ross because of the overtake. Even though he wasn't fighting it, you do lose some time. 53.5 for Giles, 54.5 for Ross. What is Astro doing? You never know until you put him in there, and we'll see what happens. So 52.3. That's not quite fast enough. And that gap should really only get bigger, although the medium tyres should last well for 9 laps. Might not lose that much pace, and the hards are going to drop off, especially on the GTRs that are struggling with the tyre wear. How are the soft tyres doing? Still in the 52s for both of them. So they're pulling second and a half a lap. And that gap looks similar, 13-14 seconds. So I think Marty's going to come out in net P3. is going to be coming at the end of this lap. Tin going to be doing the same. Asseldor is going for one more, yeah, so I'm fairly certain he's going to be going soft for the last stint of the race. Didn't really think he was going to go on hards, but he came in a bit early in the first one, or earlier than I expected. And you can see he hasn't really pulled away from Ross, so tyres evening out between those three. Asseldor does continue for another lap. So, stick on board with, let's go with Astro. Because I think Tin and Astro could be quite close on the pit exit. And we'll get to have a look at what kind of lap times Astro is putting in again. Did a 52.3. Feel like he can go faster than that. All the cars by 52.8, 51.9. So Scotty into the 51s on the mediums. Actually, Marty might come out closer to Astro than I thought. Just behind. So Tin's going to be a lot further back. Yeah, the plan's 8.95, yeah. Is he out in front of the BMWs? He is. That's big for Marty. But that is a big gap to make up to the GTRs. So Astro 52.2, so consistent low 52s, and then back into the 54s for Ross and Gilles. As the tyres are now over 50%, the Gunners feel a performance drop now. Marty could be taking as much as 2.5 seconds a lap out of the GTRs though. 12 seconds to Astro. We can check it over the line, see what the gaps come down to. And Asseldor did start to pull away on this lap. So maybe the GTRs are really starting to feel the tyre wear now. So where did Tin come out? Ooh, 14th. That is rough. You can see how much of a difference that time lost at the beginning of the race has caused now. That's 7 seconds lost. By the end of the race, given that Marty's in free air at the moment and Tin's got so many cars in a battle pack to fight through, that gap is going to be a lot bigger. Without mistakes, there's no way Tin's getting to the GTR, so he's going to need Marty to beat both of them, really. Got Misha pulling away from the pack behind. Henners has jumped up a lot of positions, up into 8th. Where is Asseldor? Where did Asseldor come out? Oh, he's in the pits now. So he's not out of the pits. Gonna come out in P15. On the soft tyres. Yeah, you're in 14th now at least. Oh, off track. He's not going to help the tyres. Where is X19 up to? X19 up into the top 10. So he definitely wasn't enjoying himself on the hard tyres. It's going a little bit better on the mediums at the moment. Pyro's still in the top 10, so it's a good result for Pyro at the moment. Henners has been a great result after starting last, up into P8. And everybody's made their final pit stop, so this is legitimate position now. He's going to have a job to keep Tin behind. Everybody else is on the same medium tyre strategy. Let's stick with Tin because I'm assuming this move is going to get done with him on the soft tyres. And then we will go to the front because I want to check the gaps and how things are looking. Because the GTR's with 4 laps to go. It's a manageable gap still. It really does depend how much the pace drops off on the worn hard tyres. You see Astro's tyres are getting down there as well. Still doing low 52s though. So, what kind of lap times are we looking at? Ross, across the line. Still doing low 54s. Shields also low 54s. What's Astro doing? Low 53. And an 7-8 second gap. It's going to be a bit more to Marty. 4 laps, 51.1 from Marty. That's 3 seconds a lap. If he could keep that up, he could get to the GTRs. But he's going to need to pass Astro as soon as he gets there. But it's a really bold call to go for the 2-stop when you're out front, because the GTRs doing the 1-stop is kind of the easy way to do it from the front. You go on the softer tyre, you build a gap, and then you go on the hard tyre and you just defend the gap. Going for the 2-stop when you're starting at the front is risky because you can sometimes end up in traffic and that can cost you the race. Whereas if you'd done the 1-stop, you would have been fine out front. Got Higgsy and Scotty kind of working together. I mean, no, they really don't. I mean, they're doing 13 laps on them. The mediums only just managed 9. I think they maybe could have gone 10 if they really wanted to. But I'm not really worried about them not making the end. It's just they're not going to be in good condition by the end. Marty's tyres are going to be right on the edge as well. But obviously these soft tyres are still going to have way more grip than the hard tyres, even by then. It feels like the pace is starting to drop off a little bit now. Didn't quite shoot up to the back of Astro as quick as I was expecting him to. Although the GTRs are in sight. Back into the 52s for Astro. Still a low 51 from Marty. So I think it was just Astro going faster that the gap hasn't come down as much. Can I commentate the eval races while I race? No, is a word, but because I mean there'd be plenty of chaos. I'm sure it'd be entertaining, but I don't need the extra work. Going through the eval races is plenty. As we've got Asseldar actually taking the fastest lap, 51.0. And stick with Marty to the end of the straight, see if he gets this move done. Then we'll have a bit of a drop back and see how everyone else is doing. You can see Tin up into 8th, so he's made a lot of progress through that pack. Marty surely got to go for the move here. Yeah, and he does. Later on the brakes. Yes, it stopped. Completely ahead. Don't think he's going to get switchbacked. No, he's not. Holds on to the position. Okay, so he's going to have 2 laps at the end of this one. That is a big gap. I think you're going to be waiting a long time for that one, Jack. You might be waiting a while for that. So, Marty up into P3. Higgsy and Scotty still working together nicely in P5 and 6. Not going to be enough for them in the Constructors' Championship, but still a good result for them. Why did you not start thinking that from the start? Like, he was not going to do that. Yeah, I can imagine. Because you've got to know that Marty's on the soft tyres. You've got to know that. Tin, got a chance at Misha. Going to be a tricky overtake when he gets there, but he's not out of the question. Then we get X-Energy up into 9th, Prime Call in 10th, Asseldor making his way through. Plenty of life left in those tyres, loads of life. Could have maybe gone a bit more aggressive on the strategy. But like he said, obviously in his sims, he was having problems with the tyre wear, so you can only plan based on how your practice races go. And that's really kind of hamstrung his races, because if he'd got on softs, didn't get a puncture, I'm fairly certain he'd have been in the top 10. Would have been able to have a better feature race because of the reverse grid. Currently up in 10th, so he's getting some decent points. Whack only down in 12th. It was Whack and Jack who came in super early for the medium tyres, and they're both starting to struggle. Hen is actually down to 14th now, though. I made a mistake on the last lap, that's unfortunate. And maybe Pyro was involved, because Pyro lost basically the same amount of time. They were very close together on track. You know what, let's go now. Let's go back, find what happened. Okay, so it's already happened. Here we go. Okay, so Hennes has dropped a couple of positions. I'm pretty sure that's with the guys coming through on softs, although Asseldor is actually down in 14th at this point. Yeah, 100%. So Pyro's super close. Oh, and just tags him. Super easy to do there. Pyro pulling over at the side. Was he on his own? Oh no, there definitely help from Pyro without a shadow of a doubt. So that's what cost them all that time. And yeah, it has been a bit of a throw from the Ferraris, but mainly because Harry has missed 2 rounds. Even if he just turned up, I'm sure he would have scored enough points. To get them the Constructors' Championship. It'll be interesting to see how far they end up off the leaders by the end. Because I haven't had a proper look at the standings after the races, so I don't know how close they were to holding on to it. But you also got to say that if Jack had had the pace he'd had at the earlier races, they might have been okay in this one. It's just like a worst case scenario. The Ferrari's tricky around here. Jack hates the track. It's kind of a awful match. Ooh, Marty with a half-second penalty. That might be enough. It's about a 3-second gap, which in theory is enough for 1 lap. But this has been a great drive from the GTRs. Absolutely making the most of the reverse grid, getting the strategy right to do the medium tyres first, drive away from the grid. And it's been just enough. Because Astro's actually getting fairly close as well. He drops into the 53s last couple of laps, so he's not going to be able to close that gap enough. Marty hasn't been able to pull away from Astro either on this lap. And that half-second is probably going to cost him that 3rd position. So it could be crucial, given how close they are, that Marty gets this position back if he does lose it, and I think he will. Oh, Astro going for the bump draft. Interesting, maybe he still thinks he's got a shot at the win. That is the only reason, unless they made a pact before the race to just work together. They must think they've still got a chance against Gilles and Ross. And they might, they're a lot closer, but he's going to catch in the last sector. And overtaking opportunities are very tricky through there. And I think at most he's going to get 1. He's going to get 1 opportunity to get past Gilles at best. Ross should be able to hold this fairly easily, I would say, with Gilles behind him. But it's not even a guarantee Marty gets there, because that is a big gap to make up in a handful of corners. So how's everyone looking for fuel hockey? GTR's plenty. Astro has more than Tin. So if anybody's going to run out of fuel, it's going to be not Tin, Marty. It's going to be Marty who runs out of fuel. And I'm not even sure he's going to get an opportunity. He's just... that tyre is too far gone to close the gap. Is there any chance of ascending to the final corner? He's looking at it. Yeah, it was without that half-second penalty, that could have been enough. It could have been enough. But Ross leads the GTRs over the line for a 1-2. Massive for the Constructors' Championship. Marty gets 3rd. Astro 4th. Higgsy, Scotty in 6th. Misha in 7th. So Tin didn't manage to get that position either. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely a good attempt at doing something different. X19 gets in 9th. Decent result for him, considering the sprint race. Asseldor in 10th. So his 2-stop working out kind of okay in the end. Got him to essentially where he started the race. And then somebody has run out of fuel towards the line. We'll just pause there. So Prime Call 11th, Wack in 12th, Jack 13th, Henner's in 14th, Fossey in 15th, and Pyro we did see under fuel massively and does run out of fuel at the line. Yeah, so many little things. Let's go and find the standing. So I know it was tied. It did end up tied for the constructors. So for tier 2, here we go. So X9G does win the driver's title, 100%. Ends up with a 24-point advantage. Tin does move up into second. Ross gets third, which honestly is kind of crazy considering how many times I feel like this doing comms I've said he's qualified so badly compared to what we normally see from Ross, and he's still third in the end. Gets a win. Doesn't get to the Race of Champions, unfortunately, because you have to be top 2 for that. So it was tied, and Ferrari ended up 8 points back. So that, if Jack had done better, done the same pace as he had all season in this round, they'd have been fine and they'd have still won. It's literally like a worst case scenario. It's like turning up at Monza as the final round in the BRZ. But yeah, tied between GTRs and Mazdas. And I think on countback, the wins were actually the same, maybe. Both who had a win. Where are the other ones? Yeah, did Gilles get a win? Where's Gilles? Yeah, they had the same amount of wins. Same amount of wins, same amount of P2s as well. 1, 2. Where's Gilles? 2 there. And. No, I think they win it on second places in the end. So yeah, tied in the Constructors' Championship. Super close Constructors. But yeah, great racing all season. It's been super close. I think there's some ridiculous stat, like 12 different winners in 16 races. So yeah, super close all season. Shame for Harry, because I think he definitely would have been fighting for this championship at the end if he hadn't missed any rounds. But yeah, that's it for season 19. We will be back in 4 weeks for season 20. 12 winners, 13 different fast lap sets. Yeah, crazy close. You're not too washed now, Jack. Don't start moping. You did great all season, to be fair. Especially for pace. You did make a fair few mistakes. I will say that. But literally, if you just cut them out, you could have been fighting for this title too. So you've got the pace. You just need a car that you like and you can drive everywhere. 17 drivers with a podium as well. Yeah, crazy close all season. But yeah, that is it for season 19. We'll be back for season 20 in 4 weeks. Still time to sign up for any new drivers who want to join. There should be a Discord link in the description, I think. Hop in there, tag the helpers, or find out, just have a look around, figure out what you need to do, or ask someone who can help, and we will direct you how you need to. Still time to sign up for next season. And I'll be starting in a few weeks. So yeah, see you guys all next week. Not next week. Actually, probably will be next week, because I think I'm going to stream the Champions Cup races on my channel. So if anybody wants to come and watch a washed Tier 1 driver in road cars flap around, whatever we're doing, come and join in for that. But yeah, I will see you guys on this channel in a month's time, roughly. See ya.